Rob Schneider and Patricia Schneider are our guests, and the show is GameGrumps.
What's up, everybody? Yo.
Are you putting in the thing right now?
I just did, baby.
Oh, look at that.
Don't you know it?
Damn.
Yeah, 30 lives.
Okay, welcome to a very special episode of GameGrumps. We have back with us Rob Schneider and Patricia Schneider.
Ooh.
Schneider, excuse me.
Don't worry.
Welcome back, guys.
Thanks, good to be back.
Hell yeah.
This game is from what year? 88?
This is 1988. I was in 3rd grade. I was in Mrs. Gordon's math class.
Wow.
Been dreaming of this game.
I was one.
There.
Patricia,
Get it.
you were what?
She's too involved,
Sorry,
dude. You
I'm
can't.
playing. You guys do the interview.
Patricia
I'm
was
here
4.
to play.
Patricia was 4. Usually when she says that, then she looks at me and goes, pervert. I get that, you pervert.
Yeah, man, like, this game was revolutionary at the time.
Oh,
What
yeah, I
was
used
so
to play this.
revolutionary about this one?
Well, it was... Well, first of all, it had the code.
It was
Yeah, the
fun.
code was
For one
feel
thing.
like-
Yeah.
A lot of games
no.
back then weren't very interesting or fun.
Yeah, it was one of Nintendo's flagship games. So you had Super Mario Brothers, you had Zelda, and Contra was kind of like just maybe one tiny level down in terms of like famousness. And for a lot of people, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. So for a lot of kids, it was the first game they ever beat. So it has a special place in a lot of people's hearts.
Aw, snap.
So Aaron, you're the blue guy.
Yeah, I'm the blue guy.
Patricia's
Patricia's
red.
the red guy.
I believe you're Lance.
And
When
we
was the
played.
last time you played this, Patricia?
I don't know. It was I don't know. I don't even remember.
She can't think right now.
Yeah.
Think, please. I can't do 2 things at the same
shit.
time.
Brain
so-
is-
She's doing
Brain
way
is
better than I am
contrified.
because of it.
Yeah. It's well.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Wow, you're so kind. You got that flame
take
shot. I don't like the flame shot very much.
Yeah, fire always tripped me up.
It's better in Contra 3, which Dan hates.
Oh my god. We tried to play one of the sequels to this game. This game is just a gentle walk in the park, and then
really?
Yeah, and then all
Gentle walk in the... I don't know about that.
You're being
Okay.
killed by all
Ah.
right?
This is like a walk in the park where like there's a bunch of dogs and you're like strapped with meat.
All right.
That's more
Fair
that's
enough.
more accurate.
But if I mean,
Oh my god.
if that's the case, then the sequels to this game are,
Come on,
you're
where are you?
basically in a lion's den,
Oh,
wearing
boy.
a meat suit.
Yeah. Patricia, you're making me look like a like a ham here.
Is it Patricia or Patricia?
Patricia.
Patricia.
Yeah, it's
okay.
But it's alright,
It's
don't
like
worry.
Patty with a tree in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That works for me. Thank you.
Oh,
Mnemonic
did I
devices
just
are
kill
helpful.
you? I did.
See,
Sorry.
fucking one
kill
level.
each other
in the
too?
bank.
I apologize.
But no, we're on the same team.
yeah.
Oh.
This
Okay.
this was played at your behest. You like came in guns ablazing. And you were like, I want to play Contra.
Yeah,
I know.
Because I had a.
That's why I love your show so much, because it's so much fun.
pretty low maintenance. Yeah, it's true.
I let Rob do all the talking and I'll do the playing, so it's a lot of fun.
It's fine. Yeah. Oh, this was another reason it was pretty revolutionary, Rob. Because
Why?
like no.
Oh no.
I don't think any game to this point like this had a forward.
Oh, like a 3D kind
Yeah.
of perspective.
Yeah.
Like this.
Oh.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
pretty, in '88, that's pretty amazing for the graphics the NES is.
Yeah. Especially considering it goes back and forth between side scroller and this.
Like
you
that.
know. So it really was a different type of animal.
Oh, this is a tough one that you gotta jump.
As you can see, the processor is sometimes struggles showing up all
And
the.
it flashes back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it can't handle that much stuff on screen at once.
Yeah.
And it also can't handle me being alive for 4 seconds. Jeez, go on.
So what the most extreme gamers, or where do you find them in the world? First of all, congrats on your tour.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
brother.
thanks, man.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was wild.
Just came back from Europe.
Erp.
Which is funny because we went to 8 different countries that we did, or 8 different locations. 3 of them were in the UK, so it was Dublin, Manchester, and London. And then we went to Sweden, Norway, and stuff. It was funny because got a couple thank yous from people like, "Wow, I can't believe you guys came out here," and then a ton of "Why didn't you come to insert country here?"
Oh, really?
It was like, "Why didn't you come to Germany? Why didn't you come to France?
You were
Why
so
didn't you come
close to
Scotland?"
Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have against Bulgaria?
We try, like, honestly, it was mostly just I didn't do any of the routing, but I think the idea was just like stick to mostly English-speaking countries,
Yeah.
or predominantly English-speaking.
Yeah,
countries.
well, because we didn't really have any idea if there was like a huge fan base out there. We have like analytics we can look at on YouTube, and it's like, 80% of our fans are in America, and then elsewhere, Australia, maybe.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like
we're doing
Belgium, even though it's like they speak Flemish and Dutch, and
Belgish.
French, and German. They also speak
Belgiumese.
English like their fifth language is better than like my first language.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
only language.
It's so crazy because, well, Belgium is like, there's Antwerp, which is the more English-speaking part, and there's Brussels, which I believe is more French.
Yeah.
I think.
Which the food is ridiculously great there.
So good, right?
Oh, the
Yeah.
food everywhere was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This amazing meal in Sweden, just like a little corner store, hole in the wall. And we're just like, we'll just sit here. No, holy crap! I had like the best pasta in my life.
Yeah. Also,
I
we
don't
were
even know if they're famous for
super,
pasta.
we were super happy to find that the way you say exit in Swedish is utfart.
Oh
And we
yeah,
were like, yes,
Utfart's the way
Yeah,
to
we
go.
are not remotely
Utfart.
mature enough.
That's pretty close to German. Ausgang. Is it Ausgang? I forget now. It's
Yeah.
been a long time since German in high school.
Oh yeah, same.
Have you ever
2 years, man.
Have you ever done stand up in any of those countries?
Actually the first I did in Ireland and England, and then but I was supposed to do a European tour. I'm gonna do it next April.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna
dope.
be out there. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm gonna go to Stockholm and I'm gonna go.
Oh,
to
that's awesome.
Amsterdam and Belgium and I think and of course London.
Well,
you guys
shit.
love
yeah.
London, right?
Oh yeah, London's the
London was
coolest.
awesome.
How are your fans in London? How are the Game Grumps
Super.
fans there?
They turned out in droves, man. That was our biggest show.
Yeah, that was totally sold out.
boy.
3,000, I think.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
it's
in London.
kind of bananas.
It's amazing.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
But yeah, they were super
guys.
nice and super appreciative that
Oh,
we
shit.
can't, guys.
What?
I mean, we're doing our best here.
there's
My
there's a
goodness.
lot of death. happening.
What's happening? Who's dying
There you
over
go.
here? Okay. Here we
Yeah,
go.
like it was cool because they appreciated that we came all that way, and we appreciated that they, are so far from us physically, but they still are into our show. you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a mutual appreciation society for sure.
What was the biggest surprise for you when you guys were traveling? Like,
That's a good question. I think, you know what? It's kind of just like I was
Oh,
telling you
I just
before
got- sorry.
before we started recording, that idea that like what we think of as like nerdiness, like our people, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Like or at least I thought that it was a uniquely American thing because because everything I've experienced has been as an American. you
Yeah.
know?
So all
comes
the
the
things we
monster.
talk about, of course,
Check
could
this out.
only be American, right? But
Yeah.
like, no.
But no, oh man, this thing's freaky.
what is this thing now? What happened?
This is a boss.
This is Larry.
Yeah.
He's just in an ornery mood right now.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, the makers of this game were very influenced by the movie Alien and H.R. Giger type
yeah.
of stuff. So a lot of this creature for sure, and a lot of the stuff you see later are like that kind of biomechanical living creature
Yeah.
kind of ideas.
Did they get sued by Alien? Or?
No, I think I think the people who made Alien were sort of into this.
Yeah, like a little flattered.
Yeah, that's the thing. Back when my career first started, somebody they used my picture on like a Magnavox thing in an ad.
Did they really?
From the newspaper.
Huh.
Just me. It was when I did the first Deuce Bigelow, and it's like me and the girl. There was like a picture. I'm like, oh, that's nice. They used my picture to sell these. Now it's like, and it's like, wait a minute, I could sue them. They're using my image. Without, like, I was just happy.
Wait just a gosh darn second.
There's money, But I was just happy that they were using, the promoting the movie or whatever.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong in just remembering, or I was a kid, but like, it feels like society was a little like less litigious at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Well, even nowadays, I'm sort of the just let it ride camp.
Yeah, who cares?
Because like, there are so many young artists that draw like fan art or whatever, put stuff on Etsy or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they're just playing it smart, like if you draw your own characters, no one knows who they are, but if you draw like people that people know, then it's like, oh, okay, well, then people will buy that stuff.
Yeah, and then later once they are interested in you as an artist, then you can introduce them to your own thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, I don't have any illusions about the fact that my band didn't get popular or more well known until, I was on a show that, involves Mario and Pikachu and all these things that like people can relate to immediately.
I get that too. It's like, if it wasn't for Adam Sandler, you wouldn't have a career. I get that,
Yeah,
it's whatever works, whatever brings people back.
Exactly.
Because they liked it. They had a good experience with it. And I think what we talked about before we turned this on, it's like, if you're having fun, that's the key, because you want to have a good time. The whole reason to do this job is to avoid something that you...
Oh, boy.
At least is to avoid something you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And then you don't think about like, I don't know if I can make, how am I going to make a living at it? You just do it because you love it, and then all of a sudden the next thing you know, you're in Stockholm with other crazy people just like you.
It is very fortunate, man. Oh, and like we said off camera, like if you're going to Stockholm, you got to go to the Vasa Museum.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I want to see that.
That shit was the coolest.
So they restored the actual boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you have to say what it is now.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned this on the show since we've been back.
Yeah.
There was this ship called the Vasa, built in the 1600s, commissioned by a king. The greatest wood carver in Sweden did all the ornate designs for it, and it's just incredibly beautiful, and it's many stories tall, and but in its beauty, and it was a warship, and it was designed to intimidate. So it's as colorful and bombastic and intense as you can possibly imagine. But in going for all of that visual stuff, they forgot to make it seaworthy.
Yeah. Oops.
And the what was the problem? The cannon ports were too close to the water?
Yeah, the cannon ports were too close
Yeah.
to the water. The ballast, which is like these rocks that they put on the bottom to level it out, was not wide or deep enough. So they went out and a light breeze knocked it over, and it started taking on water from the cannon ports. And then it immediately sunk.
Yes.
Wow, so it's kind of like the Titanic of the 17th century.
You get that sense.
Except the Titanic got to an iceberg.
Right.
Yeah,
the Vasa didn't get out of the port.
Yeah,
Wow.
but certainly in the sense of like, this is an unsinkable ship, this is the leader of the fleet, and then it immediately, first voyage, it runs into trouble.
No, but it was underwater for 300 years.
Wow.
And then they dug it out in the 50s and reassembled it.
Yeah, and it was intense too, because it took like 9 years to dry out.
Yeah.
They have some of the skeletons of some of the people there.
Oh yeah.
Which was pretty wild.
And it was also a project that we learned the most out of any other project about how to like dry wood and dry other materials, because there had never been a project of that scale before. It's pretty incredible.
Wow.
It was awesome, man. And so like whoa. Oh, Patricia,
I knew something
forgot
was
you were
wrong. I was
here.
like, wait a minute, what is that?
You're so intense.
Is that dead?
Oh wait, this is your last life, lady.
She can steal mine.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, no.
And then we got like 3 continues, I think.
Oh yeah.
So what,
Don't even worry about that,
I
Scooby guy.
think we'll be fine.
Fuck him.
So that that's the thing. When you travel into these places, you have to make yourself do cultural stuff. Otherwise, you're just like when the Beatles complained about. So what do you think about Amsterdam? Well, we thought the airport was nice. And then we also liked the hotel.
Exactly.
And then we went to the venue. Then we went back to the hotel. You got to make yourself do stuff.
Yeah.
We were lucky
absolutely.
in the sense that the fans were more than happy to be like, okay, this is the one thing you need to do.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, while you're here.
But it's also funny too, because like if we ask on Twitter or whatever, it's like, what do we do? They're like, oh, what's the best steak joint here? And they're like, oh, Ruth's Chris. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting too. There's a Burger King in every country now. Like there's a Pizza Hut in England, and we're like, this is weird.
Well, that's the difference when you have the bulk of your audience and fans are nerds. They're not foodies.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go. So they're not asking. It's like, what's the wine we should have with our dude?
I like red wine.
Yeah.
Red's good. You should have some red wine. It's good. Hot.
Yeah, but we like the experience was phenomenal. The fans were incredibly
That's
kind
fantastic.
to us. Yeah. The only thing I felt bad about was that like a lot of times there would be people waiting for us like out near the bus after the show, and we just couldn't do it. We couldn't like meet them because we were so exhausted that like we knew if we if we sacrifice that like little bit of sleep to do more like meet and greet stuff, like we would get sick.
The next show would suck.
Yeah, exactly, and like we would be too sick to do the next show. But still, like you just wish you could. You wish you could do everything for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I don't feel that way, but I'm glad you guys do. I do enough.
Well, they're nice
What do they
people.
want from me?
They're nice people. That's the difference.
Totally.
What more do they want from me?
How dare they? Oh Lord.
Oh no.
Oh, boy.
Aaron, you got 3 shots.
That's
Yeah,
it?
watch out for these little. Well, you can come back in.
Again?
You can steal
How do you
my
do it?
lives. Yeah.
No, I don't want to steal your lives.
No, please
come on.
do.
Yeah, come on in.
I can't
Be our
believe,
guest.
first of all,
They're there for the stealing.
I will say this. I've never seen Patricia lose a game
Oh snap!
of anything.
She didn't lose. I mean, she made it through 6 levels.
I think if you just hit
Wow.
start, you'll come right back.
That was sad.
Yeah.
Is that not the case?
Here, push every button. There you go. Welcome
I'm
back. Yes. So you'll need to do that every time now.
All right. Oh boy.
But it's
Snap.
fine.
I was
Yeah.
when I did performed in Ireland, and Patricia was there. Did stand up in Ireland. It was like it seemed like a warehouse or something with seats. It was a big venue, and that was the loudest, craziest.
Oh, the
yeah.
Irish.
And so talk about
They were
usually
out
have
of
a
control.
heckler.
Oh.
Yeah.
I never had an audience
Oh, no, I'm just telling
heckling
you
me.
the
Yes.
lives
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, because we went on tour with our buddy Jacksepticeye, who is from Ireland, and
Okay.
continue.
okay,
Here we go again.
We can keep
60 more
going.
lives.
Okay, let's do
Everything's
this.
fine. And so he was giving us the rundown, and we hung out with his brother Mally, and it was a great experience, and they told us, they were like,
Sorry.
people in Ireland are going to be happy to share their opinions, you know.
Oh yeah.
And they were fucking awesome.
Yeah. They shared them at any point in the show.
Yeah, it was. I loved it. Ireland was the most Philadelphia of all the places we went to.
Oh,
and I used
yeah.
to live in Philly, so I love those people.
Philadelphia. Let's talk about like the guy who's the Tony, the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. And
Tony La Russa?
Tony La Russa, yeah.
Yeah.
I know Tony. He's a great guy, and he said when the Philadelphia Phillies were playing when they were playing the Cardinals in Philadelphia. He said in the beginning, they got the kids who would bring out the equipment for the the bat boys would bring out the equipment. He said in Philadelphia they booed the kids.
Yes.
What?
Here, I gotta like bait it for you real quick, because it'll come out like immediately. But if you just give it a second,
Yeah.
And I think they
like,
booed Santa Claus
right when it's
too.
done. All right.
Oh
so
yeah.
Go
Well,
now. So
Wait.
Philly-
go now.
you know what? Just run,
Yeah.
Aaron, and then she'll respawn
Now.
farther along.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
never
there we
mind.
go.
We're good. Yes, Philly is.
Oh, keep going.
Philly.
I'm gonna keep going, falling in the void. Oh, okay.
Oh God! Oh God! No!
I'll go. I can't leave you behind. Shit, no! We're in an endless loop.
This is quite a
This is
display.
terrible.
I'm going.
Okay.
We're safe. We're safe.
That's good. Okay. Oh, thank God. Yeah, Philly is famous for. I guess this was a long time ago, but I guess in the 70s or something, like a skinny Santa Claus came out, and they were like, "Boo!"
Oh boy.
And
Wait.
it became pretty synonymous with Philadelphia. But we
man.
for our shows,
we came up with several rules
which we refer to
because
as
of Philadelphia.
we call
Oh,
them the
yeah?
Philly
Yeah.
rules.
Because
What
we have
are
somebody
those?
running through the crowd to interact with people, and they were grabbing and screaming at them. So
Yeah, we were like, okay, Philly rule,
Yeah.
you can't grab.
Maybe
don't
not.
grab and scream at them. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was the first. It was the first show we ever did where the crowd booed at things.
Oh wow.
Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, because our fans are so supportive, and Philly, I guess, is just an exception to that rule, because they are.
no,
If they don't like something, they're supportive.
Yeah,
they show
they're-
their support by booing.
Yeah, they're supportive. That's just how they do it.
Oh boy.
Oh, you have to hold down Patricia
Yeah,
and
yeah.
push the. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
She's leading the way again.
Yeah, it's it's just how they show love.
Yeah.
it's an interesting place.
Well, so they're excited to be there, and then when you combine an alcoholic beverage into
God.
that,
Oh, yeah.
it takes the shyness out of a person.
Well, you know what's funny too, because like our fans, a lot of them are very, I guess innocent would be the word. They're very, it's very sweet, but like we had an experience where we played a show and we were talking to a bartender afterwards, and she was telling us this story of a fan that came up to her and, you know, ordered a Coke or something like that, and she said, "Do you want to open a tab?" And the fan was like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, my heart."
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Yeah, all of our fans like say thank you to the doorman and stuff. We've had several venue owners like stop us
And-
on our way out or in the green room, and they're like, What do you do to get your fans to be so nice? And they're like,
That's
they just
super
are, man.
Yeah, it's very lucky.
See, nice people exist.
Oh yeah, nice people are all over the place. Mm-hmm. Not this spiky-shouldered jumping transformer.
You just got to get to know him, you know?
Yeah.
You just got to get to know him.
You can actually
Compliment
jump,
his suit.
You can jump over this guy when he comes at you.
Oh, gosh.
Oh god, I forgot how this guy was so tough.
Well, when he gets angry, his suit changes color. It's like a mood ring on his whole body.
That is true. There's only 2 levels left of this game, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
the hangar and then the alien's lair.
It's a
The
pretty.
alien's lair.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the like straight up rip off of Aliens.
Yeah, of Giger, yeah. There was another game. Have you ever heard of Metroid, Rob?
No.
Metroid was another
Whoa.
mid '80s game. Very. Aaron, what's happening over there?
What?
no.
I'm just cheering her on. Go, 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 go.
There you go.
Yay!
I made it.
Yeah. So like,
Oh boy.
Oh man, to give you an idea of how influential you are in pop culture, man, I was about to say you can do it, and then I was like, wait a second.
holy shit, that guy's on our couch right now. Yeah, Metroid was another one that was very, very influenced by Alien, like the look of it,
boy.
and it actually became famous for being one of the very first video games with a female protagonist,
Oh, wow.
which was also based on Ripley from Alien.
I remember seeing that movie with my mother, and we didn't know any. We didn't know. I think we were in
sounds
Hawaii at
fun.
the time. We saw, and then she saw the whole movie with her, literally, with her hands over her ears.
It's super scary. Even now, it's scary because it's all practical effects, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
It ages very well.
And that John Hurt scene is just, you'll never forget that.
Man, John Hurt, like, he was an unbelievable actor.
I don't think we can make it up
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
The wheelbarrow.
I wish I would have worked with him one time.
Yeah, right.
Incredible,
Did you ever
yeah.
meet him?
No. I was thinking about, like, years ago was this movie, and, like, you're going through a list of actors, and they were all great. I would have loved to work with him. My favorite thing he ever did was, like, he's one of those character actors, John Hurt, where, like, you forget he's an actor.
Right.
You just watch, like, when you see Midnight Express,
Yeah.
you just see him, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Holy
And,
shit! I
like,
forgot he was in that.
it's just, because he's so
Hey,
amazing.
nice job.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Ah boy.
The he was the Elephant Man is the one of his that always kills
yeah.
me.
I would have loved to have seen, like, because
We got to kaki about
David
that.
Bowie did that on Broadway.
Elephant Man?
Yeah.
Really?
I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh my god, yeah. I would have loved to have seen anything with Bowie.
Yeah.
I was a little bit too slow on the uptake with Bowie.
Oh, really? Oh, man. Oh,
yeah.
Bowie was amazing.
Yeah, I know it now.
Dude, that's the same for me too. I was like, as a kid, I never really got
Well,
it. But
because
then,
there's certain people that are just part of pop culture that, like, like, as they've been around a long enough time, you forget that they're, what their impact was, because they're just part of the culture.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like Elvis was that way, Bowie was that way, like, the Beatles, it's just like, you don't think they were just young guys that started out too.
So guilty.
believe in yourself.
I know. I gotta. Do
I believe in
I'll
you.
just do it. Okay.
You
game
can
is
believe in
over.
you too.
Thank you.
That's okay. Steal my life. Oh God.
Yeah.
But, like,
Well,
Bowie's
I
one of
skipped
those
that.
guys who
Thank
was
you.
like,
Thanks to you.
instrumental in pop culture.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Such a gigantic impact.
He's an immortal artist.
I love about him is that his biggest success, he was kind of embarrassed by it or didn't like it or
Is
just
that
didn't
right?
like
Oh.
it was too big.
It's like Danny Elfman.
When he did the Let's Dance album,
Yeah.
it was just like to me that was I met him a couple times. That was the stuff he was I don't want to say like the least, but like it wasn't as interesting for him. And because of its gigantic, massive success, I don't know. That's a weird thing, isn't it?
It is weird.
Woof.
I mean, like, I think we've talked about this before. Oh Lord!
Welcome back,
All right,
welcome back.
we're gonna have to play the hanger one more time.
That's okay,
It's
that's
fine.
okay.
It's fine. 30
okay.
lives.
We can blast through it easy.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Well, you know, your own success, you become aware of your own success or something, and it's like, and it's intimidating. Like, I mean, that's the thing of the story about, like with Hitchcock.
Yeah.
And I was talking to John Landis, the director of Animal
Dude,
House.
cheer me
And
up.
great. And he said after,
Oh, shoot.
he said after Hitchcock, after
Okay,
Psycho,
okay.
never truly made another great movie.
Is that right?
And I think it's, you know, this was what his opinion was, his idea. This comes from a really good director, John Landis. And like he said, like he just became too aware of his own, you know,
Oh boy.
Impact.
yeah, or his own fame and his own the idea that how great this was, and then trying to like live with that and live up to it. You know?
Yeah.
that
It
is
started
tough.
to color his work, and I was like, whoa.
I personally found success to be a lot harder to deal with than failure.
Yeah. Without a
and-
doubt.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do from there? Like,
I haven't.
Yeah,
I haven't
nothing's
got there
nothing's better, you know.
Yeah.
Really?
And the weirdest part is like you sort of feel guilty for feeling that way.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Because
Everybody else wants it.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, boo friggin' who, you know?
I
like-
know exactly. Well, they're like, you know, but the thing about it, it's like the people most susceptible to the pitfalls of success are the ones most attracted to it, and all of a sudden, then you get it, like what?
Yeah.
Now what do I do? And then you kind of feel weird, you know, in a way if you don't feel like you
You earned it.
yeah, or you
Yeah.
deserve it, or that you
Yeah.
feel weird about that, and like, what about these guys? And like, I don't know. At a certain point, though, what you have to get back to, I think, is if you love it,
Yeah.
and if you love it so much, then it attracts other people who have a similar thing to it. You know, there's
Yes.
just when I first started doing stand-up, when I wasn't famous, it was just going so incredibly well. Not all the time. I mean, it took me a while to get it, but after a while, it was like crazy. Well, obviously, something was happening. You
Right.
know? And then you just, and it just kind of continued from there. And then you do it for a while. And that's the old Ann Beats, who was a writer from Saturday Night Live back in the day, one of the original writers. She said you can only be avant-garde for so long before you become guard.
Yeah.
And then you're just
Yeah,
like one of the
exactly.
old guys, and like, you know, then you're fodder for the haters.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But that, you know, the thing about this also, you have to keep finding ways to still enjoy it and have fun.
There-
That's why it's like, you know, for Patricia and I, like the first season, we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Oh,
for
yeah.
real, Rob. And this second season, which you guys have not seen yet because you're traveling all over the world.
Yeah, we're a bunch of dicks.
Yeah.
But we just really kind of, you know, not we say we figured it out, but we really had
Oh.
a ton of fun. And then like, just said, well, wouldn't it be great if we did this? And no one was telling us no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this
well,
the best place?
This is a good time to say congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
On your second season.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
You're gonna love it.
Netflix, right?
If you thought I was an
Yeah.
asshole last season, just wait.
How dare you even consider that? Yeah, because you've had a big year. You made another season of a show and you made a baby.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations
You made
on
a
that
human
too.
being.
Thank you.
Well, how about it was even tougher for Patricia? Was that like, well, she's the one who had the baby,
Right.
and a month after she had the baby, we were shooting.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
So I mean, so she was, you know, breastfeeding, memorizing her lines, producing,
Woof.
casting, with our terrific casting agent Shannon McCaney, and then also, you know, keeping a baby in the middle of the night.
Alive.
Yeah.
Alive.
Yeah. Was it at least released a relaxed schedule? Because
No, it was
No, it wasn't.
insane.
Wow.
And then, like, you know, go, where's Patricia? We got to shoot. Well, she's pumping. And then she had to, you know, pump breast milk between the,
Takes.
you know, between takes.
That's friggin'
It was
crazy.
nuts.
Wow.
I'm sorry that happened, the timing. But, you know, when you get the money to shoot, you got to make something. You just got to do it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, because
It's easy for me to say I'm the one,
yeah,
you know, not breastfeeding. And
of course. But I mean that because another thing that's changed since the last time you were here, which was like over a year
you
ago.
guys spending $1 million on your place. That's changed a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, well,
Looks beautiful.
Thank you.
thank you.
But we had a show.
It would have gotten that way if we didn't cut it off.
Somebody fell in love with Kurosawa's work or something. 'cause
Yeah,
It's
seriously.
all Japanese in here.
Oh, I love Japan. I go there every year.
Oh, you do?
Oh, you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, it's the bomb.
Oh yeah, watch out for the shrimp. they are off the buffet and out of control.
Were you gonna talk about Good Game?
Well, those are the
Oh
shrimp
yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Good Game was this show we did for YouTube Red, and like it totally gave us so much more of an appreciation for how difficult it is to
Oh
do
my
a show
God,
like
yeah.
that.
What was difficult about that?
Well, the schedule. So what we were made to understand is that like the schedule that we were on was insane. Like it was just non-stop.
Like what?
Balls
Like
to the
what
wall.
it was? Like just a different city every day?
Well, so we did block shooting, so it was all or crossboarding. So it was
Okay.
it was all location based. And it was just like scene after scene after scene after scene. It was just a machine, and like it was so tight, like we couldn't be behind on stuff. I think there was only one day where we had to like reshoot a scene that we did before, and that like super set us back. Like it was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that's why I love the movie schedules way better than TV. You know, and movie schedules. Oh, we're gonna come get you in 20 minutes. They come get you in an hour and a half. You know?
Is that right?
And then like, but like for like low budget or like for TV 1 hour, so we're gonna come get you in 5 minutes. And like, oh, okay, all right, I'll get a cup of coffee. And like 4 minutes later, okay, you gotta go now. Like what?
Yeah. It was super intense, and just like we'd shoot all day and then like get our lines for the next day at night. So you'd go home and learn your lines and go to sleep and wake up and go like rinse and repeat endlessly for like.
And then on the weekends we had to do this.
Yeah, we were doing GameGrumps on the weekends. So it was very intense, and it gave us a much greater appreciation for what you've done, you know. And oh god.
Oh boy.
Those are the straight up face huggers from Aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I mean, look at them. Shit.
Yeah.
It's not too.
The only thing hilarious about the stage is like the like things hanging from the ceiling, like
Yeah.
that's all over.
Don't even. Yeah.
Wow.
Like. Yeah. Oh, and this is the final creature.
This is the heart or whatever.
This is the heart of
This is
everything.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a nice short game.
Oh, snap.
Lord. Just go for the heart. Screw the shrimp.
No, we gotta make sure they're not coming at us.
Okay.
Wow, this is intense.
Yeah. As a kid, man, it did not get more intense than this.
Yeah, exactly. I remember.
This, because the heart starts beating faster as you shoot it more. Yeah.
Got him.
Got him.
Yeah. Yeah.
impressed.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
That's amazing.
And then
It was all Patricia. She was leading the way.
Well,
And then
I'm
you-
back now.
When was the
I got
last
that.
time you played this?
Oof, I don't know, like over 20 years for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
definitely.
I mean, it's 29 years old, so
Yeah.
there you go. We've destroyed the vile red falcon and saved the universe.
See,
Consider yourself
we
a hero.
saved the
You're like,
universe.
It's even
yeah.
like the Star Wars. That's the impact of Star Wars having this kind of.
Oh yeah, the scroll up text for sure, for sure.
There's a great thing on the internet where you can see how that was shot.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, like
Oh,
they did
yeah.
it with like plates, right?
Yeah,
Like glass
they literally
plates.
had the plates and they were shooting the plates as they were moving them.
Oh, that's so
Isn't that
cool.
cool? Isn't that great?
I love
At
it.
Disney, when I had a deal at Disney, I short-lived a couple of movies over there. They had literally all the stuff from Walt Disney's office.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And they had like a little museum of it. When I was first there, they still had his office the same way it was for 30 years.
That's
And like after he died, 30 years, you know, and then they finally moved it over to another section. And like one of the things, he was in Czechoslovakia, and sometime in like I don't know if it was the 50s or something, or no, it was before the 50s, like in the 40s. And there was this bird, the mechanical bird. And I remember when I was in the Czech Republic, I saw the same thing.
Right.
But I didn't buy it, but he bought it because there's this little bird that you wind up instead of. It's basically watch type material or watch, wind up things. It's basically the interior guts of like a watch stuff, and the bird would move around and make noise and stuff. And he took that and took it back to his designers back in Los Angeles. Said, take this thing apart and figure out how it works, and let's make life-size things. And that's how that Abraham Lincoln thing.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
That's how
That's so
that
cool.
thing-
Oh wait, here.
Have you heard about the
Pause this, otherwise it'll get weird.
Have you heard about the first iteration of that, where the hydraulics fluid was red and then he
No.
was like leaking?
Oh my
And
god.
so it's like Abraham Lincoln on stage, like, "Rah, rah," and then suddenly it's just like this red splotch,
Oh,
like
boy.
from his torso starts growing outward.
Whoa.
People were like, "Is this part of it?" Or
I remember hearing that. I think it's the greatest joke maybe ever. But like, because it gets better as you get older in life, and it's just basically. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the performance?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wow. And the
Exactly.
first time I heard that one, but now I really think that's an amazing joke.
Yeah, it applies to so many things in our own lives.
Yeah, but I don't know what I was talking about Disney, but that Walt Disney was a genius. He used to have all the different stuff that he would have, in his office, and he would just go, you could look at that and go, what a genius. He was one time, will I have Disneyland? kind of came into being. He started just making these trains bigger and bigger. Then he started a train where he could sit on.
Yeah.
And he was just kinda moving
Yeah.
around on this train. And then Salvador Dali was his friend, and he came to go visit him. And he said to him, "I don't know what you're doing yet, but keep going." And that kind of turned into Disneyland.
Oh, that's so
Which
cool.
is like he had that vision for something. He didn't know exactly, but he kept following it. The next thing you know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
incredible.
It
I
sucks they
love
don't
it.
have that anymore. The train that you can ride around Disney Studios.
Really?
Oh, they don't, huh?
Yeah, in Burbank. I don't think it's there anymore. I've been there a couple times recently, and I haven't seen it.
They had his animation desk at the Museum of Natural History
Yeah.
for a little while.
Yeah.
When you got married there, they
That's
had
right.
it
That's
in
what
there.
I saw too. That's what they had.
Yeah.
They had this, like,
Right.
first of all, it was as big as this couch.
Yes.
Like 3 of these couches. And that's how they made the plates. They'd have plate after plate after plate for the animation.
Oh, right,
So they
yeah.
had the background animation, and then they would put a plate on top of it, and they'd move, and then they'd take that one shot, and then they'd move it again, and then they'd shoot it again. And
Yeah.
it was a giant pieces of glass that they were stacked on top of it with the camera slowly rolling over it that they would add to. That's why it was like it was an army to make those things.
But I mean, think about how crazy is it that you know, that's where Mickey Mouse was created. That's where Donald Duck was created. Like all these characters, and that basically what happened in that one exact point influenced the entire world.
It did. He did
Yeah.
change the world.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is like the first sound picture I believe was Walt Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
He basically said, find a place on that film, on that little tiny, it's like an inch, 35 millimeter, or maybe it was 16 millimeter. What he said, find some room on there to put sound, and that's why that was such an amazing thing. It was not just the animation, but it was also the fact, because there was other animators at that time. But he had found a way to put sound on there.
Yeah.
Like
So
what?
cool.
Like so that talk about changing the world.
Yeah.
Just having a vision from what he really loved the most.
Yeah, and even to think like Disneyland, like he was broke when he made Disneyland. He had
Are you
he had
serious?
yeah, he had to,
Never
like,
think about like a guy like
Yeah.
that, or Disney would be having monetary problems, but
Yeah.
they did when they made like Snow White, and when they made Snow White made money, but then there's a couple others that were just as brilliant, but that did not make money.
Really?
And here's the weird thing about Walt Disney was that Snow White was a gigantic success, and everybody didn't win an Academy Award. It should have.
Yeah.
But also like that, the audience got used to that. Like they weren't amazed by it as
Yeah,
much by
yeah.
the second and third movie because it's already they had seen it.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with video games. People the elevation of it. After a while, people get like this was mind blowing in 1988.
Oh yeah.
But like today,
Now it
kids will
looks
go, "What
so
the hell is
primitive.
this?"
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So it's in the same way with animation. It was like remarkable things, but people got used to and were spoiled by it, so to speak. And then the expense of it in the early 50s got so expensive that he couldn't afford to do the same kind of work with that, and they had to find a way to do it cheaper. And you're right.
Yeah.
By the time he had Disneyland, 1955, 53, I think he was underwater financially.
Yeah.
He had to borrow money.
Yeah.
he had to make
Unreal.
So,
like a TV show that
I have
only
a question,
funded
guys,
Disneyland.
because
You're
you're
right. A Disney TV show, right?
you're
Sure.
game guys,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what do you think? Like, do you think we're living in a game,
in a simulation.
in a simulation?
Oh
What
my
do you
God,
guys
you
think?
are
That is so much heavier than I thought a question it was going to be.
Patricia. You are like feeding into one of my worst fears. Of
Really?
all time.
I think about that.
I want to know.
I spoke about this recently, and it
Mm-hmm.
sort of became relevant again because. So I had never had weed in my entire life.
Yeah.
And then
right.
recently I had it 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and every time I had a crazy freak out.
Oh, yeah?
And what I realized the problem is I have this existential fear that we are living in like a simulation in a loop, and everything's just like repeating over and over.
Yeah.
So for you to say that like a couple days after
Well,
my
it
last
is-
freak
it
out,
is
it's
a
just
loop.
like, come on, man.
Well,
It is a
because
loop.
I-
You are living in a loop. It's just like that's the way creativity and God in my opinion, is like it's a continuum, but it's like it wipes the slate clean each time.
I just recently have been thinking about it a lot. Like
Really?
I'm getting to believe that we are living in a virtual reality.
Yeah, but you have to understand.
Wow.
But it's
I
not just you though. The difference is there's a potential megalomaniacal narcissism behind that, which is like it's just all my imagination. That means these other human beings then don't seem to be as important. That seems to be Hitlerian in the sense of
No, but the thing is, like, I never
potentially,
realized
like
it.
then they're not me. It's okay to do whatever I want to these other but these are other sentient beings too. So
Right.
there's that little.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
balance.
not saying that I'm the only one and you guys
We're
are
not
here
part of
because
the-
exactly because it's part
like
of me.
the Matrix
I'm
or
just
something.
saying like it's
Yeah.
something going on because I don't know. I'm
That's why
thinking
you
about
shouldn't
it a
smoke
lot.
too much weed.
Elon
Man, this
Musk
took a
is one
hard
of the
left.
firm believers of that's a reality, like the simulation reality.
You know why? Because sometimes I swear, like I look at things, like whatever has stripes on. I don't know if
You
it
could
had
be
happened
careful.
to you.
There could be some Game Grump fans now who are high right now.
Yeah. I guarantee there are.
Well,
A few,
there you
at
go.
least.
Maybe they come with some theories about that. But I don't know. I swear, sometimes I look at things and I feel like there's like a little glitch in there. And I don't know if it's whether my eyes
saying-
are bad or there's like.
So what are you saying? There's a
something-
glitch. You mean
Like a
like
little,
tearing?
like a little, no,
like a
like a
glitch
little
in the
like
Matrix?
pixelation. I swear, and I'm not even like I've
awesome.
seen it
Well,
not
that's
being
called
high
acid.
or
That's
anything.
called acid. No, what it
No.
really is, what you're seeing things. First of all, the perception of what you see. You know, no, because this is way out there now. But the truth of it is, the perception of what you see is information that your brain is gathering, trying to put together to make sense of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
first
yeah.
of all, everything you see is all upside down. One thing, your brain has to invert it.
Are you high?
No. It's true. Your perception, your ocular nerve sees everything upside down and then inverts it and then makes sense of it through your screens of perception.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you take
Holy shit.
when you take something like acid, what it simply does is it alters those screens and removes some of those screens, and all of a sudden, because what you see isn't the reality of what it is, isn't necessarily what it is.
Well, yeah,
it
that's
makes
why
the
those
colors. Whenever you see
pictures are
anything,
too, right?
Whenever you see anything, your mind is making sense of it, whether it's the actual truth or not. It's going to say what that is.
Is
And
it
let me
that
just
thing
go
about
back.
the tennis shoe, right? Did you see that picture that people see it in a different color?
Oh, the dress?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now there's like a tennis shoe.
Yeah,
Have you
it's
seen it?
the same
It's the
concept.
Thing. It's the
It's the
exact
same-
same thing.
Well, let me
Yeah.
tell you about how about this. Here's what's fucked up. You want to hear something that's really
Yeah. Oh, let's get
This is
weird,
gonna
man.
fuck you.
This is
This is
minute
gonna
40.
fuck-
Let's
I always want to
when-
hear something that is fucked up.
Okay, when Columbus first came over
Oh boy.
to the Americas and quote discovered people who'd been there for thousands of years.
Of
course,
When
yeah.
he discovered it, and then the greatest gift that the Spaniards were able to the real was filth. How filthy they were. That's what destroyed the. It wasn't the armies.
Sure.
But anyway, so the weird thing about it, the shaman. The natives there, and this is like legend, but also it was enough of it that's lasted these hundreds of years.
Or it was part of the script for our virtual reality.
Oh. Well, here's the thing: is that the natives there couldn't see the ships because it wasn't in their realm of imagination. They couldn't imagine any of these ships this gigantic and this big. Like, so basically the shaman of the place who had like more vision and was taking more peyote or whatever, he actually was able to. He had a bigger idea of what the universe could be. He was allowed. He could see it. His mind could go there, and he had to explain to these. To kind of break it down for the normal natives what this was so that they could envision it and see it too. So that's an interesting thing because their imaginations were limited to what they could really see.
Yeah. Well, what color do you see?
Pink.
Yeah.
See pink and white.
Patricia is holding up the tennis shoe.
Yes.
Yeah,
And what
I see pink and white as
See,
well.
that's what I see
green.
too.
Do you really?
I
Grumps
see
sees it.
green and gray.
Goodness me, that's crazy.
Yeah, like he doesn't see
green
the
and
pink
gray is
at
the other
all.
thing that people can see on that.
Wait, so
Yeah.
the white part is green, and then
this
red,
is-
the pink part is gray.
This is gray.
Like it's major.
The suede is gray, and the other thing
That's
is like
amazing.
is green to me.
I will never stop being amazed by this.
Yeah, and it's totally pink for me. And
Like
Yeah,
even
you can't
the shoelaces.
conceive that it could be anything
the
else.
shoelaces are white, right?
Yeah.
Matt and Ryan, put up that
Shoelaces are
picture,
totally
please.
mint green to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What color do you
You
see at
guys are
home?
nuts.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but if you go online, you can take a look. But the point of it is, your brain has to make sense of it and make a decision of what it is.
Right.
Right.
And so, but is that really what it is? And how much of that is just your brain trying to keep
Yeah.
Right.
sane?
What is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that's the thing I think about, because like it's just your brain could go there, like this world could be a simulation, it could be a computer, it could be virtual reality, because virtual reality and computers are in our lives right now.
But,
Yeah.
does that say that is being manipulated by some source? I mean, that's the inference I'm getting from that.
Right. Who knows? I mean, the thing I take away from it is that the stuff we can't conceive. My guess is that whatever's actually going on is so big and insane and beyond our own comprehension with our tiny little speck of dust brains that we can conceive of. It won't be anything like something that we could create ourselves, you know? It would be so far beyond the idea of like a computer.
To grasp it, right? Well, I think like if you think about the reality, and if you break it down on the molecular, to the electrons, everything. If you break it down, everything is emptiness. Most of it all is just empty.
Sure.
And it's just, if you could see like this board right here, or this table, this couch, it would be mostly just ping pong balls flying around. And between the ping pong balls would be mostly emptiness and space. And that is the reality of what everything is. And as a matter, when they see an electron, they've never observed a non-observed electron. So we don't even know if that's really what it is. That's what we see. Maybe they change when you look at it and they know they're being looked at.
Quantum theory.
Yeah, but that's, so the emptiness, so the majority of that universe is this emptiness. And then they don't know, well, with dark matter, what is the essence of everything and what is holding it up? What's between it? I mean, it's like, you don't know. So it's like, we know less than 1% of 10% of anything.
That would be my guess.
Duct tape, I think.
Yeah, well,
Together.
it's funny
Maybe
too,
it is.
because as we're having this incredibly deep discussion, I'm like, what's on my foot? It's our dragon dildo. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like this says everything that you need to know about the universe. Like, no matter how we try to wrap our heads around what's going on, there's always some stupid weird shit that we can't conceive of.
But wait, because now I'm curious, because you got high and then you were freaking out about it.
Yeah.
But what was freaking you out?
Yeah, that's good.
Like,
Good question.
what exactly was
So
it?
what I found out from this last time was that
The third time.
if any, yes, and probably final, was that if anything, so I guess the way that this particular strain of sativa, the like energy one, works is that like
Creative.
it puts you in the thought, right? Like
Yeah.
it just makes you like,
Like, makes
I'm
you
in
more
the thought
curious,
now.
probably,
Yeah, and like
right?
when you observe something, all of the thoughts that you have as a result are like very real and like happening all at once. So if I observed anything or heard anything that at some point could be linked back to either GameGrumps, my wife, my personal trainer, weirdly, and the number 4, then I was like, everything's a loop, everything's connected. I'm living in like one point of existence, and it's just looping, like, and everything is, a memory of like a war that happened like hundreds of years ago is just like a cycle that's repeating now.
Alan Watts, that's what he basically. That's just his
and
theory.
it scares me
But why would it scare you though? Well, what is scary about that?
because I'm always uncomfortable when it happens. So I'm like, okay, so
but there's
everything
a fear,
boils
but
down to a
what's
sense of
behind
discomfort.
The fear, though? Why is the discomfort? I'm asking. Let's get to it.
Because it made me feel sick when I smoked it.
Okay, but made you feel sick. Okay. Or that's mushrooms. First
Okay,
of all.
let's go to the
Why
fun
you feel
part.
afraid though? What is the fear coming from? Fear of what? Discomfort for what?
That I'm not in control.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about Western culture, is Western culture thinks they're in control. If you think you're in control of your own life, you are wildly disillusioned.
Oh, yeah.
Wildly, because off base. It's just like, whenever, and Alan Watts talks about this, whenever there's turbulence on a plane and you grab the handrest as if that's doing anything.
Yeah.
That's the same idea of you think you can control your life. We are on a little tiny planet, an orb that is spinning around a fireball at 1,000 miles an hour. If you think you can control anything within that, then you're really, delusional. So we have to, but the thing is...
But I think we do have certain levels of control.
Okay,
Like,
levels of control.
yeah, like, I mean,
But
even
does that matter to the fireball? Whatever level you think you have, does that matter to the fireball that is whipping us around it?
Well, no, but I gotta say that there are certain things that you can control, like choices or decisions you make in life, and then that helps. Like, maybe you're right about the plane, right? If there's turbulence, whatever, and you grab on, it's not gonna help much.
But mentally it does.
But if you don't have your seatbelt on, you might fall. But if if you put it on, you're not gonna fall. Yeah. So there's like a little choice right there that
Yes,
kind of
I
helps.
do think that. I think there is some choice within that, but to have some balance with it, to know that those choices are not like anywhere near going to influence what really happens in the universe. You have to let go, and part of the fear is that acceptance of the non-control that you have in your life, and that's a perfectly thing for you to do at your age.
Oh yeah.
To get to that point where like, wait a minute, I'm not in control of this. I can't change this. And then when from acceptance of that is more freedom. And I guess in Buddhism they call it, that's suffering for the right reason.
Yeah.
Which is is acceptance and giving into it.
You know what the funny thing is? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
It was just that when I used to smoke, I would have the exact opposite reaction to what you're describing. Like I would get into that headspace of, you know what? All life and all people are this one big consciousness, and we came from that, and we're just a little broken off piece, and when we die, we just get reabsorbed into that
I've
thing.
had that same exact thing. I've had the same weed you have. People don't smoke weed and go on shooting sprees.
Yeah.
They fucking don't do it.
Yeah,
Why?
and
Because it opens up their consciousness.
Right, and it's beautiful, and because like it's that feeling of acceptance and letting go, and like, okay, I don't control any of this, and that's okay, and.
So that's the part I can't get to,
Right.
and that's okay.
That's okay, but that's
Because I'm so
okay.
uncomfortable.
But
when
that's
it's
okay
happening.
too, buddy.
That's okay
That's
too.
part
But
of it.
getting to the underneath part of that is what's interesting. You need to get to that. I mean, for me, it's like there's a fear too. I used to have that same thing when I used to get high. That's why I hated getting high when I was your age,
Right.
Because I didn't like that. Now, if I smoke, I feel like a real more peacefulness to it, and I feel like an openness to it because I kind of have not exactly 100% comfort with it. Because I'm still using those demons for creativity, but there's a slight more balance to it, and I think it's just that's a good thing to explore. Don't give up on that, but getting to the questions, those underlying questions of why your discomfort, what the fear is,
Yeah.
and then they'll go away. You know what? Here's the thing that again Alan Watts talks about: take it to its extreme. Take that discomfort to its extreme. Take that fear to its extreme. What's the worst thing that can happen? What is that really? And spin it out, and you realize, and it'll go away.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you this: at what point did your life shift in such a way where you made this realization that you're talking about?
I would say failure. I would say accepting the fact of what the idea of success and failure was.
When was it? Was it a couple years ago? Or?
Yeah, I would say within sometimes you make a hit movie and then you do, well, I'll do this other movie just to get a hit again, and you're not doing it from a joy place, a place of I love this idea, and then you just, I'll just do this to make a hit or whatever, and then when that doesn't work, it's like, wait a minute, because the audience goes, we know that's bullshit or whatever, you were intellectualizing it, and then when that went away, it's like the first time I got kicked out of the studio system, I was bummed. The second time, I was relieved because I went it whatever your attachment to whatever, it'll go away, that attachment, and then all of a sudden your attachment to your idea of success, your idea of whatever it is that you think you need, what you want.
Well, then it's ego. That's what it is.
Yeah, you have to let go of that,
Right?
and and then you get back to it. You kind of dissolves in getting back to what it is. It's an unlearning process to get what you love again, what you find joyful, instead of getting kind of wrapped up into it. And that's why, if you go to a Zen Buddhist place that Patricia and I went to outside of Taiwan, and they say, well, what is going on over here? There's just a bunch of idiots over there. There's just a bunch of stupid people. And they go well, what do you mean by that? We said, well, they're not playing the game anymore. They're no longer trying to get someplace, to do something, wear something because they think they need to have this, or do something to get something because they think they need this, and they think they need to have that to get this, and they get to this level and that level. They just say they're not playing the game anymore. And so in some way, I believe that I finally got to the place where I don't feel like I'm playing a game anymore. It's still a game, but it's back to the place where I love it. I'm doing it for joy, not to get anything.
That's it.
And I think it's a letting go of that thing, and it is. It's letting go of the ego.
Yeah, but I agree with you. It's good to let the ego go, but it's hard also because it's not like you can just say, well, I'm gonna turn into a monk and I'm gonna go to a monastery because we have responsibilities. We have kids. We have a family. You have things to do. So you have to succeed not only because not to
What is
feed
your definition
ego.
of success?
Well, for me, it's like to be able to provide for my family.
Okay, that's fine. You can do that. That's fine. I'm not saying that is a conflict or that there is a But what
No, but I feel like sometimes that goes by hand with ego, and that's what the problem is.
Oh, this is such an ego culture that we're in.
Yeah.
Western culture, the idea of comparing and like this guy's got this and they got that, and it's easy to get lost in that. But I think like that's interesting because like originally in Buddhism, to go back to the religious aspect of this and the philosophical aspect of it, Buddhism, which came out of India, which is very like they were more of an isolated religion, whereas like monks would go off into the hills and they build this thing just for themselves. And the Chinese reformed Buddhism and made it so that you could be a Buddhist in the world. And that's why you could be married, you could drink, you could be angry. Some of the Buddhist monks that you've met, they drink and they have horrible tempers, but they also have both. They're in the world and also can separate themselves from it and
Buddhists
divest their
having
ego.
fun.
Buddhists having fun.
Yeah.
That's what I think I am.
Buddhist gone wild.
Well, it's
Buddhist.
is that the idea of mindfulness? Like you just let things happen and you're aware of it and you don't let it overtake you.
Be aware of it, but you could also there's another Zen Buddhist monk who said I'm becoming more attached to people and things and food and drink, and I've never had more fun in my life. So I think but there's an awareness of both, and I think that's the balance that you're trying to get to.
I love that idea. Like if life is a game, then it's a sandbox game, and you can do pretty much anything.
It's Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and
like that.
you really do have that freedom, and whatever
That choice
and whatever it is
that you love,
is what it always has been, long before we were here and long after we'll be gone, so it's really not worth worrying about too much because it already is what it is.
And the past is the past, and the future you don't know about, and a lot of people are living there and back. I grew up with a war survivor. My mother was a war survivor,
Right.
which made us war survivors. The world to her was a horrible, terrible, and it still is. She's like 80, she's gonna be 89 next year. It's a horrible place to her because it was.
Sure.
There were the
Yeah.
Japanese. She was in the Philippines during the Japanese occupation. They were starving. Half her family were killed. So the world is a terrible place in that situation.
Sure.
But then when it stops, how do you turn that off? And so when I was a kid, how does that turn off? I mean, so it was wasting food in our house. Like, you're gonna eat that guy that the Japanese have to walk 3 days to get a potato. You're gonna waste it.
Sure.
That's just her perception of it. But it doesn't
Right.
have to be mine. But the thing about it is it's good to check that
Right.
and question that. What is the fear of? What is that? And I'm still dealing with that.
It's the same
Oh,
world.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just different lenses that it's seen through.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
how about the people who are in that and choose not to have that perception of it? You still can find the beauty even in the most horrible situations.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my goodness,
I mean that's the way to do it. What happiness comes from within, that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like no matter what situation you're in, at least I am me and I'm making the choices that I'm making and I can be proud of that and I can be appreciative of what I have and
be joyful in anything you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did having kids change your perspective on a lot of this stuff?
Certainly made you question it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to pass those things on that were passed on to me, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Good. Keep it that way.
Man.
Yeah, but it did
Yeah.
change. It did
No, for me
change.
it changed.
Yeah.
How did it change for
of
you?
course. Well, because I'm more aware of those things. I don't think I was, I was just living my life and trying to, being very concerned about my, career and being successful and everything. And now I'm more concerned about raising happy human beings.
That's cool. Yeah,
That's
your life
true.
isn't about you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much.
But are you
Yeah.
happy doing it?
Oh yeah, I'm happy doing it, but
Cool.
also, I really want them to be happy, like just genuinely happy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
And-
thing about it, you forget. Like, you kind of have to, you got to unlearn that again. Being joyful as an adult.
Yeah.
Is because you get caught up into the game and getting this you have to do. And then all you have to do is look at kids. Like, Miranda's our 4-year-old. She's going to be 5. All she wants to do is play. Let's play this. Let's do this. This will be fun. And just, the world is that. In a way, it's just this game. And as it goes, if I had to describe what it really is, it's like everything is supposed to challenge you this lifetime is going to do it. Whether you want it to or not, it's going to do it. It's going to throw it at you until you deal with it. And when you're done dealing with that, it's going to throw something else at you.
Right.
It seems to be deviously designed to do that, to test us in every way possible that you need to for this experience until the next experience. That's what it is. I mean, if I had to say what I think it is, I think that's what it is. What do you
That
think?
That was rad. Real Rob, season 2. On Netflix.
We do talk about, but in the show, there's
This
like,
is real Rob.
Yeah, this is the real
this is
Rob.
real Rob, virtual reality, season 2.
Well, the thing about with Real Rob is if I had to describe it, I said like it's Zen Buddhism, what not to do, how not to react in certain situations, which actually is still valid, you know, because like I'm a selfish, egotistical a-hole who's like and jealous and worried about this and comparing, which is like it's very good if you can see that's an exaggerated character.
It's good for comedy.
Yeah.
I think so.
Sure. I remember when, did you ever hear this podcast, How Did This Get Made?
No.
Very cool podcast with Paul Scheer and Jason Mantzoukas. They talk about movies that are just not good, and they question how they got made, and they deconstruct them. And one of the things they talked about was this movie, The Love Guru, with Mike Myers, where he plays this enlightened. I think he's Buddhist. I don't know. I've never seen it, but
It's like an Indian guru.
yeah, exactly. But they discuss on that podcast the reason that comedy doesn't work is because comedy comes generally from judgment and from fucking up, and it doesn't come. The enlightenment is what you get to after all the comedy's over, you know, like the characters have learned their lesson. But if
I
the
like that.
Yeah, if the characters know their lesson at the top, then it's really not going to be that funny. That was their discussion, and
Well, it
kind of
would
what
work.
they're
I mean,
saying.
in my
Well, that's the
opinion,
way a story works, actually. You have to start with a problem, and then more problems, more
Yeah.
problems,
If he
and
was a
then you
phony
see him as a
guru-
hero at the end.
if he was a
like-
phony guru, I don't know the story.
Yeah, me neither.
But if he was a phony guru who through being a phony, then ended up being a real guru, and by that time it was kind of too late because they discovered he's a phony.
Sure.
That would have been interesting.
Sure.
But it's just part of the time what's the real thing that
well, you
can
gotta
s-
change. There has to be an evolution in the character,
But
like you
it-
have
if you intellectualize
in the show, just
Right.
in
Yeah.
the show.
Totally.
If you intellectualize too much, thank you for that support. If you intellectualize too much and gets outside of that realm of joy, I call it like when you're trying to think of what could be funny, as opposed to something as like, even I'm working with Adam Sandler. Still to this day, we're like, oh, we could do this, and it's literally like an explosion of a joy for him to like when he has an idea. Oh, you could do this, and then I'm always trying to make him laugh in the scenes. Like I remember we did 50 First Dates, and I went like, somebody roll me a joint or roll me anything that looks like a joint, and so I just started smoking in the scene. I didn't tell him I was gonna be doing it. I was smoking in the scene, and then I kind of put it out, and then as I'm walking away, I put it in my ass crack just to make him laugh and see if I can break him. He kept it in the movie. So it's like we were just trying to make, but it's coming from making each other laugh.
Yes.
But if you intellectualize and think too much, I call that artistically floating, like in space. It's directionless
Right.
Look,
because it's not coming from. It's not connected to anything.
a term you coined,
Yes,
artistically floating.
my term, which belongs to
Rob
me,
Schneider.
which is mine.
Oh boy, I
Curious
just
if it came from a book or
it's fine.
something.
I've hit my
That's
head
great.
on that mic 1,000 times. It's totally fine.
Yeah, anyway, I have to visualize it, even when I'm lost. I got to visualize something. Like when I first started as an artist, listen to me. When I first started, I felt like I had to imagine a room that I had to fill up with myself, with like the material, because I was writing all the time.
Yeah.
Back then, instead of it wasn't on your phone, putting a note on your phone, we had pads of paper and all this
Sure.
stuff. And I remember like my dad, when we were kids, we used to drive to my grandfather's house, and there was this gigantic airplane hangar. It was the biggest building I'd ever seen. My dad got into my head about like, hey, that building's so big, that airplane hangar, that it rains in there. Clouds form and it rains. I don't know, he could have been lying. I don't know. To this day, I don't even know.
Sure.
But it was huge. But I can imagine being that big, And so in my head, that was the biggest building ever. So when I was, as an artist, as a young artist, I had to fill that building up with myself and and creativity, or whatever, to get to a place. And then the next time I'd be lost again, and I go, well, I'm just in another. I fill that other one. Now I'm in a new airplane hangar. It starts again. So just that was my visual way of trying to connect what was happening creatively and how to get to that next whatever that was.
And that's the past, and that's not you now?
You know what? I think I've let go of trying to fill anything now. At that point, when you're an artist, it's like when how John Lennon described punk music, punk rock, why he liked it so much, because as a punk rock, it's like, fuck this, all this is shit, it's all fucking garbage, and then you have to kind of say that to start over, to not be influenced anymore, just to throw it all out. It's kind of like, it's coming from a negative, but it's still, even coming from a negative, you can still be, some creativity can come from that. I don't know how interesting or how long-lasting that would be, or the impact of negativity is creatively. But I do think if you can let go and kind of find a place and not guide it too much, let it guide you. It seems to be more interesting at this time in my life.
Yeah.
What do you think? Does that make sense?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but
What do you think? No?
no, I was lost with the negativity thing and all.
No,
that.
I'm saying like negativity, like oh fuck this is crap and this is crap. When you're a young comedian, you kind of have to watch everything, and then you kind of have to pick it apart, and after a while you have to dismiss it all.
Well, it is like
That's a defense mechanism,
finding
but
also
also
the
find
two
your own
sides.
voice.
The two is finding the two sides of the coin, right? Like just.
Yeah, well, there are two sides. You'll never find a one-sided coin. And that's the thing, like to be aware of. Even if you take the south end of the magnet and you cut it off, then what's remaining will be the south end of the magnet. It's just you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
But to try to focus on it too much. But I remember when I was a young comic, you had to throw it, say everything's crap, and then start. But you as a defense mechanism to give you the. To give you the kind of courage it takes to get up there to humiliate yourself, which is when you're a young comic. It happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
That's really tough. Yeah, that's why I admire comedians so much because that's a tough one.
Oh,
just getting
the
on stage.
judgment and
Yeah, of course, you're putting yourself right there too.
Physical.
And there's also people that I believe they go to shows just to kind of like say, okay, make me laugh.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, some people has that attitude.
There are some people that go to theater shows. They're called theater ghouls. You ever heard that expression?
No.
These are ones like when a really, really bad show, it's like a really shitty show, they love how shitty it is. And they enjoy how cringeworthy and horse shitty it is. They call it's actually a term for them, theater ghouls.
Do they call them that because they boo? Like boo?
No, they just love how bad whatever it is.
They
Just
love watching someone crash and burn.
They love watching misery.
Cool.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. Like, I mean, they're out there on the internet too. There's those cringe videos. They get millions and millions of views. I can't watch them. Like the embarrassment I feel for the people who are like suffering is like too much to bear. I have to like click it off.
Yeah.
But some
It's
people,
hard for me to watch, too.
some people
Feed
are
of it.
really drawn to it. It's
Well,
weird.
Patricia loves watching people fall down.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone loves people.
You love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to admit, if it's spectacular and if there's a good musical accompaniment to it, it's fantastic.
America's Funniest Home Videos was nothing but a 20-year show that was people getting kicked in the nuts for decades.
Well, there's this one
yeah.
spectacular one, which to me is funny on so many levels. There's this woman who's heavy, and she's about to do paragliding in some place in Mexico or whatever.
Of course, it's in Mexico because it looks so not safe. So that only happens in Mexico.
But you have to explain what it. You explain it better than me. That video, why it's so amazing. I saw this and we laugh every time from our gut because it's like this woman thinks she's gonna take off. Just explain what it is.
It's worse than that. It's not like she thinks she's gonna take off. It's like the guys put her in there thinking she was gonna take off, and she just gets dragged by the thing.
Oh, no.
Worse than drag.
And worse
She
than
goes.
drag.
She does a face plant, and gets dirt. I mean, literally eats dirt, and then it takes her upside down, and then it's dragging her, flying, and then she falls. Just horribly falls out of it when she's
In the
10
water.
feet in the air into the water, and not only that, but then there's a musical accompaniment to
Oh
it.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah. They
remix
put
Wrecking
videos
Ball?
always- yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
God.
Yeah, they put that.
And then they time it to there's a wrecking ball, and it's you could see it online, and it's just this horrendous thing, but it's absolutely hilarious.
I wonder if she
Yeah.
finds it funny. I hope she does. I hope she's into
I would
it.
hope
I
I
she
find
gets to
most
that
of my
point.
pratfalls funny,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
even days after they happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I fell down the stairs
Oh yeah, that was really funny.
at our old house, and Patricia thought I was.
exactly at the time, or like just
When
the memory.
Patricia realized I wasn't dead, then she was able to laugh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course, because there's some level of responsibility with laughing at people when they fall,
Yeah.
right? So you have to make sure they're alive.
Yep.
Then you have to make sure they're fine, and then you can laugh
And yeah,
and
Yeah.
enjoy.
And-
For
yeah.
minutes, heaving, laughing,
all bets are off.
catching your breath, laughing.
Did you fall down like the entire stairway?
I was about halfway, and I knew I was going because, like an idiot, I said, "I'll just carry my luggage down the steps."
Yeah, but open.
Oh,
it wasn't
yeah.
even like closed. It
So
was
it's like a
open. So
balancing
he,
act.
I
he
said,
set
you know,
himself up
I'm
for
gonna
failure in
unzip
there.
it down there. Anyway, it was already open. So I'll just save the time that I'm zipping, and I'll just hold it this way. And the next thing I know, it started to go, and then I was worried about the luggage falling, and whoa, I'm falling. And then I fell, luckily, on the luggage and slid.
He was half
But it was
of
a
his
real
body was
fall.
inside of the suitcase, and the other half was out. Like you were almost inside of the suitcase.
Yes.
You fell on top of it. I mean, it was really funny.
I'm really
It
glad you
was fun.
survived, man.
Yeah.
Glad
Yeah.
you remembered so well.
Wait, did you like hurt
Yeah.
yourself really bad or?
Wasn't too bad.
No.
Patricia hurt herself more falling on in my luggage one time.
Oh, yeah.
I travel a lot and was doing
He
stand-up.
traveled so much, but this is mean. Like, we used to live in this house that it was extremely dark. Once you turn the lights off, it was like as dark could be. And then he leaves his suitcase, an open suitcase, on the way to the bathroom. So I get
An
up.
obstacle course.
Yeah, I get up in the middle of the night and I go to the bathroom, and I swear I tripped with the suitcase and I fell inside the suitcase. But I didn't
And
even
it
think
zipped
it was a
itself up, and
possibility.
then the next day he
No,
went.
I hurt myself with the zipper, actually. I mean, it was really painful.
She
and
really
bad.
cut her leg. She got a scar on her leg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then I had to go crawling to the bathroom because
She
I
still had to
still
go to
wanted to go to the bathroom.
My mission was still
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I remember that it was like a couple of weeks later there was an earthquake in Los Angeles, and I don't know, it was like the middle of the night. And I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, it was like 1 a.m. and
I was
you were
up.
in the bathroom.
I was in the bathroom, and you just in your socks. It was the cutest thing. You just kind of slid over. And went, what do we do?
Yeah, well, I'm from
a risky
Mexico.
business
We
to
have
have.
big earthquakes in there, so
Yeah.
Oh wow.
we are scared of earthquakes.
Every single time there's an earthquake, I'm either driving or asleep. I've never experienced.
I'm the
in
same
the 8
way.
years I've been here.
I'm the same way because I really grew up with earthquake, not big ones. And I'm from San Francisco, but it was always like everyone. It was very calming because it was a very common thing, pretty much. So as an earthquake, you go, well, let's see how it goes for a few seconds.
Right.
Let's see if we need to move. So it was never like ever. I never felt panic.
You never do
by
the
an
like
earthquake.
bathtub thing or like.
There was
the
one in
doorway.
LA. The big one in LA was a scary one.
94? You
Yeah,
mean?
because it was like a rumbling one, and it just kept going. It was like, there was like a. First of all, you always think you don't think an earthquake. First thing you always think it was a dump truck right outside the window,
Sure.
making a lot of noise, and it's like the dump truck is the earth, moving on a tectonic plate by lava, thousands of feet under. But yeah, and then you think, well, maybe I should do something,
Yeah, well, I'm prepared, I gotta say. In our house, I'm really well prepared
What do you got?
for an earthquake.
What do you got?
Well,
you don't
because I
find China
all the
and
corners.
hide
No, I'm way beyond that. Like I have a whole setup for, I have a lantern, I have batteries, I have
Nice.
Oh,
water.
you got like a bug out pack.
Yeah, you
like
got
you're
the
ready
bug
to.
I
You
have
the
it.
axe under the bed.
Yeah.
I have an axe under our bed in case
Oh
I
my
need
God.
to break something to get out.
Because if you get stuck and the kids are in the other room, right?
Oh, yeah, I never thought
Then,
of
then
that.
you'd and the doors don't work anymore. You got to get through them doors.
You gotta axe
or
those
that
doors.
wall. You know.
Yeah.
So what do you need? You're gonna need an axe.
Yeah.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah, I kind of love that.
I want an under the bed axe.
And I have the I have my booties for in case I need to step on glass or anything.
Wow,
I'm,
look at you.
guys.
You don't have any
I'm-
for me though, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't need it.
All right.
An entire
gonna
house
John
made out of
McClane it.
pillows. Yeah.
I'll carry you in my back, honey.
Okay.
I'll
thank
save
you.
you.
Thank
Very
you.
sweet. Guys, I just realized we are 10 minutes away from doing a feature-length film episode.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, this was pretty good.
This
What
was
was the
awesome.
best part of it?
I liked
Oh,
the Contra
Contra?
and also the
Yeah.
existential talk.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I like the virtual reality
Yeah.
thought in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That was
covered a
so
lot of
funny that you
ground.
brought that up. This is like literally yesterday. I was just like, man.
Next time you get high,
Yep.
take it out a little bit. Take it to its extreme.
I just can't
spin
like
it out.
the concept because since this was the third time and I had experienced it twice already. When I felt it coming, I was like, "Oh, it's coming," and that made me scared. I was like, "I can feel it. Turn off the TV. It's gonna freak
You know
me
what,
out."
though?
Like here we
Let me
go.
tell you something though. The reason you asked me when it happened, I remember specifically when I let go of
Cool.
that. It was when the last time you gave me, Patricia, you gave me these edibles, and I got too high.
I did.
and she handled it really well. I don't know. I don't understand how you do it. You remember your friend thought she was dying, and you were fine.
Yeah.
edibles are
Anyway,
the
so
worst.
it was like, and she said, I don't make sense when I'm high because the connections start to jump.
Oh yeah.
And so Patricia has a great way of saying it. It said, look, you have to connect this part to this part so that I can get to this part. Don't jump to that part.
Yes.
How do I get there? So,
Yeah.
but anyway, after that was the last time I was like super high and like the last time I had a bad high, I would
Yeah.
say. But that was, but think about that and spin it out, and I think you'll either get really paranoid and never want to get high again, or you'll get to a place of calm with it.
Yeah.
You'll break through the glass ceiling of paranoia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, man.
The glass ceiling of paranoia. And then glass will get everywhere, dude, and then I gotta use the booty.
Oh, that's a solid point. Matt, Ryan, can you call this episode the glass ceiling of paranoia? And also guest Grumps with Rob Schneider and Patricia.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
thank
here.
you.
This was I'm so glad we're buds now, and like you just
Yeah.
stop by anytime you want, man.
Yeah.
Like
Thank you.
We-
We were really excited to come back. I mean, I got to tell you, you guys have the coolest fans.
we
Oh, yeah,
don't
we-
take it
we
for
know
granted.
it.
Accepting and open, because a lot of times, like, if I'll do other stuff, you know, like if I did like you know, one of these huge talk shows that I did recently, and they're like, fans, why do they have Rod Schneider on there? Yeah. There's that negativity that's out there within those fan groups.
Oh, sure.
You know?
Sure.
And it's like, you guys, like the feedback we got when we did with your show was like, I'm gonna check it out now. You
Yeah.
know?
Wow.
Aaron likes it.
They're very
That is true. I don't like many things.
They're very sweet, and they were drawn. I think, as I was too, to your honesty and to your like very cool reaction, because like easily you could have told us to go fuck ourselves, you know. But like you're like, let's talk about it, and I think anyone can appreciate that because it's so not the first reaction of a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know?
I've been shit on so much for so many years, including South Park and everything.
Yeah,
and
us
everybody,
too.
it's funny because when some people like when they shit on like when they have people want to say, well, how did they want to know that it hurt me when people come up to me. What do you think about South Park? And I always say the same thing. I thought it was the greatest compliment.
Sure.
He said, "Look who they make fun of." And my friend from The Simpsons, Matt Selman, he's a genius writer over there. He said, "Man, they could have been way meaner to you."
Totally.
I thought it was funny. I laughed, and like the thing is, you have to have a sense of humor about yourself to it. And like what I liked about what you guys did, like I said last time, was that you thought about it.
Yeah.
And it's like you were confused by it because you were interested in it, and I like that. And plus, Patricia loved it because you liked her more.
Of course.
Well,
Of course she liked it.
the thing that's about that is that like it's so easy for anybody who's consuming some form of media to just have an opinion and put it out there and not really think about the people that it's affecting, right? And then when you came in last time and you guys were so kind to us and so nice to us, I was like, well, fuck all that. Like, you guys are cool now in my mind. So when you wanted to come back,
Thank you.
I was like, of course we'll help you out. Like, I don't care if it's to promote.
Well,
I mean, if it was like a murder spree.
Yeah,
I
baby
would-
killing.
I'd be cool with that,
Yeah,
but-
it's fun.
But like anything, it would just be like it's just supporting cool people and friends.
thank you. And I was very happy to come and play Mortal Kombat last time.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Fun.
And now you conquered Contra for the first time in
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This has been a big day for all of
Yeah.
us.
Yes.
It's been great.
But
Thanks
yeah,
for having
that was
us.
a lot
Yeah,
of
and
fun.
now we love you
Thanks,
both.
guys.
So
Yeah.
don't even worry
Too.
about it.
It's been fun, and like for me, it's like the things that made me laugh a lot when I was a kid. That's the stuff I kind of gravitate to want to do now. To me, like Faulty Towers.
Oh,
John
hell yeah.
Cleese was so funny and was such an asshole, and just like a little kid who was just blaming everybody else, shitting on everybody, and then hiding stuff from and a complete coward to his wife. And that's like my genetic comedy DNA.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
That's like the stuff that made me just pee my pants laughing.
Yeah.
So when I think I have the potential for an opportunity for it, that's the stuff. That's my go-to.
Yeah.
And then like Patricia has her stuff that she goes through for your style. What is your style that you like?
I don't know. I like situations. I like, I like sarcasm and those situations when you feel like, oh no, why are you so...
Oh yeah. And then you get
Yeah.
stuck in something, and like that's what John Cleese
Yeah.
told me when I met him. He said, so much about American comedy is about the quip. Show me up with the quip, and then topping the next quip, and then topping that one. He said in English comedies, it's about the situation and then letting it play out in a comedic
Right.
way.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. That's what we try to do with our show, and I think that's why you'll dig the next season.
Killer.
Yeah.
We
I think we
really
do.
get a chance to go for
Yeah.
that.
That's
in,
awesome.
in a way that was like artistically fun, and also it was really funny for us. And then to get to a beautiful place at the end. So I think you'll dig it.
Sweet, man.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll
Watch it while you're high, so you can spin out.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Real Rob Season 2 on Netflix. Rob and Patricia Schneider, thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank
Much
you.
love.
guys.
Bye-bye. That, I think, was the most all-over-the-map episode we've ever done. That covered some ground, man.
be high next time.
I feel high right now.
Oh, yeah.